This is WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana, and you are listening to WNS Podcast. Arriba!
You're listening to the official Wrestling News Source podcast. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com or find us on Facebook by searching WrestlingNewsSource.com or WNS Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Daniel Herron, Tyler Abear, and Doug.
That's right. What's up, everyone? I am Daniel Herron.
I'm Tyler Abear.
I am Doug.
And we welcome you to episode 136 of the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com. Check us out on Facebook, WrestlingNewsSource.com. You can find us on Facebook, WNS Podcast, on YouTube, WNS Video, and on iTunes, Wrestling News Source Podcast.
And we are on Twitter at WNS Podcast, and for the main site, WN Source.
Hey, please rate, review, like, subscribe, all that other good shit.
Click our ticket.
Do it. Stitcher, iTunes, all that. Do it. Please.
So there you go. So welcome to the show. Got a huge show for you this week. If you didn't hear at the beginning, we are going to be interviewing WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana. So definitely going to be a huge show. We're also going to be talking about Raw. We're going to be giving you our SummerSlam predictions. We're going to be having total Divas talk. We're going to be doing hot topics. We're going to do Q&A. It's going to be a huge show. Tyler, are you excited?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome to the show. How you guys doing? I'm pumped up. Doug, are you pumped up?
Yeah.
Pump up the volume.
So pumped.
Well, I can hear it in your voice. The excitement is overflowing. Yeah. There you go. So we do have some feedback to kick off the show.
It's been a long day.
Based on what we talked about from last week, mostly about the Total Divas segment. The first feedback we have is from Jonathan Red Robin.
Yum!
He says, hey guys, I'm sorry for just now giving some feedback on last week's show. I recently started working at a new job. First off, congratulations on that.
Congrats on a job.
Woohoo!
Now, Red Robin's young, so he's probably got like a job he doesn't even like doing.
Well, hey, it's something that...
Make that money, son.
There you go. It's going to help pay for Mania.
Yes.
Red Robin's like in college and shit, I bet. He should be partying, like, not working. I'm sorry you have a job, Red Robin.
Go see drunk chicks.
Yum.
Get them to make out with you and all that. All kinds of stuff. Anyways, he says, I have to agree with Doug on the Big Bang Theory and Total Divas, but I disagree with him on How I Met Your Mother. However... Doug won 300 awesome points for identifying Total Divas as Earth 2. I love that reference.
Well, of course I have, all those awesome points, like, all the time. No shit, Red Robin. You failed the pop quiz if you just now realize that's how many awesome points I have. But the whole, like, How I Met Your Mother thing is more of an Aber talking point than mine, right? I think I
said it, and then you're like, yeah, that's in the same category.
Yeah, so really it's more of an Aber talking point. Talk to that man over there.
I don't like it.
All right. Well, there you go.
No, it does. Talk to him.
Thanks for the feedback. So not cool.
They're friends now, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah, Red Robin and Noah are friends now.
Wow.
On Facebook.
Weird world.
How? Noah doesn't even hang out with us.
Our other feedback comes from 6-Star Criminal on YouTube.
That's
saying
cool name.
Yeah, saying I think that's a Grand Theft Auto reference right there. Yeah. If I had to guess.
Like that new one's about to drop next month, right?
And it's looking good. It's looking good.
You can cycle through the dudes? That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, through a mission. Like
you can
whatever.
go scuba diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can sit at home and watch TV.
My question is if you like switch to a different guy who's like in a different part of the city doing something else, does the other guy just stop or does he keep like living his day?
It's like you coordinate them to all meet up at one point and you switch from one character and the other two are just like standing there not moving.
Well, as the video does, like if you're not doing a mission or whatever, you switch between them, they're out doing their own thing during the day.
Can you kill them? That'd be awesome. That would be hilarious. And then you can't switch to that character for the rest of the game. You have to start a new one. But that would be funny.
Yeah, I'm getting that game.
Or that you have to pick them up from the hospital.
Oh.
There you go. Grand Theft Auto 6. There's your premise right there. You kill people and they don't come back.
Sorry, we got off
That's
subject.
The premise of every Grand Theft Auto. You kill people.
But they don't come back.
You kill people and then you
like
fuck a bitch in a van. That's it.
Like Grand Theft Auto is even less about stealing cars than it is about killing people.
It's how can you kill people in such a style that they have to send tanks your way? That's pretty much all it is. Take a helicopter and fly around. Have some fun.
Oh, yeah.
Should be called like first degree murder or something.
So anyway, 6-Star Criminal says, you didn't mention Cena talking about
Hey, I know you said I think that's a Grand Theft Auto reference, and I said, oh yeah, okay, but it just like went over my head until you said it that second time. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah,
that's how slow I am.
Criminal.
That's how slow I am.
There, that's
I'm
all
sorry,
right.
6-Star Criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I'm tired.
Don't worry about it. But he does say you didn't mention Cena talk about how he had wood when Nikki was squeezing her tits together during the wood cutting thing. Anyways, what do you think about Cena's recent face versus face feuds? And do you think he comes off more like a heel during those? Keep up the great work, guys.
He said it like a
I'm
question.
Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Question
It was
mark.
left- It was left into the question mark, but he was telling us to keep up the great work. Damn it! Who put a question mark there?
He did say that he had wood. I remember that. You know, another thing I think we forgot to mention was like the Road Dogg like appearance where he was like obviously acting. He was telling him like he was being an agent, telling them what to do in their match or whatever. We didn't mention
I
that.
forgot about that.
Yeah. It was just weird and random.
Well, there you go. So, do you want to cover the question in this?
Nah, fuck that question. No. What's the question?
Do you think? What do you think about Cena's recent face versus face feuds, and do you think he comes off more like a heel during those? And his other question was, "Keep up the great work, guys." We're just messing with.
We'll
you.
try.
Yes.
Okay, so who did he feud with before Bryan that was face?
The Rock.
The Rock. That's like a different thing.
Yeah, because
I think that's a whole different ball game. Rock versus Cena. Yeah, I don't think that counts. Who else besides Cena?
I would say Ryback.
I mean,
but
besides
he switched before
yeah.
they had their feud. I don't know.
I don't.
No
think
idea.
of anything.
But do you think he comes off in this feud, the one between he and Daniel Bryan? Do you think he's coming off as more of the heel in the group, in the duo?
Slightly, but it's almost
They're
like
both?
intentional.
I feel like maybe a little bit both.
Okay.
Or at times,
Yeah, I'll agree with Aber. I think it's that classic like face versus face thing where they're gonna like fill each other out, and then like eventually one guy's got to get frustrated and do like a less honorable tactic, and then it's gonna snowball from there where shit will get out of hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one of those kind of things.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll kind of agree with that, but I don't think it's like full blown or anything.
Okay. And we'll dive into that a little bit more as we discuss Raw, because Raw kicked off. No pyro, no opening promo segment. Just go straight into the action. Wade Barrett going up against Daniel Bryan with special guest referee Brad Maddox. And, this was sort of a quick matchup. Well, I say quick, but what?
I want that as a soundbite, like Aber slurping his drink in the background, and he does it.
Special meat South. Been watching too much Epic Meal Time.
I'm sorry.
I don't even like. I don't watch that.
Daniels.
I don't watch that. I just want like sound bites of Aber doing that.
South.
Slurping.
Only if it's after he slurps his drink, though. I don't need this straight up. Continue. Let's get into this motherfucking roll.
All right. So Wade Barrett ends up defeating Daniel Bryan via a fast count from Brad Maddox. What was the point of them having to face one another other than Wade Barrett wants retribution for Daniel Bryan shaving his beard? And
Pretty much.
Brad Maddox was,
I think,
being a jerk. So
Well, it was set up to establish that
Maddox is with Vince.
the Maddox is still trying to fuck with them.
yeah,
Essentially, like that's the point of it.
he's a Vince McMahon.
Which is how you eventually get the trips as. So it's like, I guess, essential. Like it's I guess it's less of a thing if Trips just goes, "Hey guys, like I'm gonna be your ref." He doesn't need to, right? Because he doesn't feel like it's in threatened. I can't fucking talk. God damn it! He doesn't feel like there's a reason to have to do it himself. He feels like things are gonna be impartial
Okay.
until Maddox says that. Which you can argue if that's something you want or not, but I think it makes sense in how they got there.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later. As far as Triple H and McMahon and Maddox and all that. It was
I just want to say something
okay.
quick about this whole situation. I think since when he that first day when he became general manager, or when he started doing his duties, I thought he did good. But when he got intertwined, in the storyline, they didn't really give him time to do his own thing.
All they've done is say be a yes man to Vince.
Pretty much.
That's it.
So yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
All right, but yeah, the next matchup we got to see Randy Orton versus Damian Sandow, and Damian Sandow bringing out his new and improved Money in the Bank briefcase.
It looks cool.
Yeah, nice leather look, and he had handcuffs in the briefcase, which he attached to the ring post so that Cody Rhodes could not make off with it because he was on commentary for this matchup. Nothing stellar in this matchup. It was just a traditional one-on-one, and Cody Rhodes gave the distraction for Sandow, and Orton picked up the victory. Anything
that happened?
That did happen.
I believe this was part of John from Nightmare Pro Wrestling's Monday Night Draw as well. Was from this match.
Was it?
I believe.
I
think it was Sandow having him like in a headlocker or something, and he's like,
nice.
When Sandow was like, I'm not gonna let go. One of those.
Yeah. So Orton defeats Sandow, and that's about it. The next matchup, we got to see Natalya and the Great Khali going up against AJ and Big E Langston. And this matchup started with it was Big E and the Great Khali in the ring, right? And then Big E tagged in like almost immediately.
Natalya,
and then AJ and Natalya fought for a while, and that's how they ended the matchup. The match had a botched ending, and I know a lot of people were kind of confused and looking at the referee, like, what are you doing? But, if you take a closer look, Natalya let go of the sharpshooter before AJ tapped out. So, the ref was, right not to call the matchup. And Natalya's kind of walking around like, oh, raise my hand, I won. And he's like, no, you got to make her tap out. She didn't do it in time, so she had to apply the sharpshooter again, and the fans seemed confused, the commentators seemed confused, and I don't know. Other than that, it was okay, or less than okay. What did you think, Doug?
Definitely less than okay.
Yeah. It was kind of just what's going on.
I just realized that
Khali is tall. I don't know.
Khali, yeah, he's tall.
When he puts his hands in the air, he usually goes,
I know WWE Universe, WWE is Earth 1 and Total Divas is Earth 2, but people who didn't know stuff about those two, they're going to see Natalya with Khali, and then on the show coming up, it's going to be Natalya with Tyson Kidd.
Well, it's kind of vague as if Khali's
I know,
her
we know,
main
but
spoon.
some people...
No, it's vague like if she's just hanging out with Khali or if he's supposed to be her main squeeze in Earth 1. It's kind of vague.
They said that a few months ago, I think, whenever she first started being his arm candy, that they were like, oh, I guess she sees something in him. Oh, they're together and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but it's vague. It's vague.
Then,
they didn't say Khali's hitting that or something.
That would be hilarious. I know we're gonna get more into this. I just want to say one more thing. In Earth 2, they do. I guess later on they show them together. Then like Natalya and Tyson Kidd, and later on they pan over in the corner and Khali standing there. Oh, sorry. No. Okay,
so there you go. This was kind of just a time filler, and hey, let's plug the show. Which, the ratings have actually been going up over the past.
They've climbed every week. They've improved.
Yeah, so maybe you guys are onto something. And
basically, they owe their success to us pimping that fucking show.
Yep.
Because everybody else like, I ain't watching that shit. I ain't watching that shit. And now we're like, hey guys, it's totally fun. And they're like, oh shit, it is totally fun.
There's someone I think I read somewhere like someone posted like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch it, but I like listening to y'all talk about it.
So yeah, there you go. So it was good. It was a good plug for the show, but the match was just bad. Next up, we got to see Vince McMahon come out and decide he wanted to talk to Brad Maddox about the fast count that happened earlier in that night. And Maddox was like, oh, just give me one more chance and make me the special ref, and I'll be, I'll be unbiased, and I'll call it right down the middle. And, McMahon's doing a little, well, I guess if you're going to do that, then okay, you're the special guest referee, in which Triple H comes down and says, no, I'm going to be special referee for this matchup.
Who do you think Vince's stylist is?
I don't know.
He doesn't
It's been changing the past few weeks.
There's no way he picks out those clothes himself. It's like way too hip. Like he dresses way hipper than he like
That was
makes
a pretty
the show.
flashy suit that he was wearing.
Like if the guy who's in charge of like pop culture influence on the show is not dressing that way. It's not the same guy.
Maybe it's Laurinaitis.
You think he has a stylist?
I would think so.
Yeah, I feel like
How does
would.
he have a hipper stylist than like Triple H? Triple H is significantly younger. He should have like a hipper stylist than
Even
Vince,
if
right?
he didn't have
like
a stylist, I bet Triple H would be like, yeah, I ain't fucking wearing that.
Maybe this is like after the midlife crisis or something. Maybe he's just like, I gotta have something. I think
he looks good. I think he dresses well.
Yeah.
Sharp man. Sharp
It was
dressed man.
the red
Dressed
the red
man.
coat and purple shirt.
Ladies go crazy for a sharp dressed man.
Thank you, ZZ Top. So yeah, and so Triple H picks himself to be the special guest referee. I feel like this is just, they could have struck gold with Daniel Bryan and John Cena and everything they add to this with the McMahons and Triple H and Maddox and Orton. It's too much of a distraction. It's taking too much
Wait,
away.
there
from
already?
the
I thought
match.
Miss TV was like way later.
Well, I mean, yeah, but what I'm saying is this whole build-up. Like every time Cena and Bryan are in the ring together having some sort of interaction, they do great. And then something on the outside comes in and it just sucks.
But they
the
weren't
energy
in.
out.
They weren't in there like right now.
Well, I know, but why does Triple H? Why does Maddox have to be put in a special referee? Why can't we just have a regular ref? Why does Triple H have to be involved? Why is this power struggle between McMahon and Triple H clashing with this matchup?
Why can't
Because Triple H is not a good dresser, and Vince is not gonna have the guy who takes over his company be such a shitty dresser. And I've got to commend him for that.
I did crack up laughing whenever Triple H came out and Vince had the microphone a little close and he was like, he's changed completely since he cut his hair. It's like this all went downhill once he did that. I thought that was pretty humorous at least. So Triple H is going to be the special guest referee for the WWE Championship match at SummerSlam. Next up, we got to see Kane going up against Titus O'Neil in a pretty quick matchup where Kane was victorious. And then the Wyatt family decided to come down and they were going to attempt to attack. But when the lights came back on, Kane was behind the Wyatt family and he set the ring on fire. And
Wyatt wasn't scared. I like how they're both laughing. Huh?
Yeah, they're both waiting for this moment. And it was
They make like Wyatt will laugh, but the flunkies never laugh. They look concerned, which they kind of should.
yeah. So
Wyatt needs to be careful he don't burn his beard off.
and he didn't. At first I didn't notice, but then whenever they did a close up of it, I saw that Bray Wyatt was sporting a new Bray Wyatt family T-shirt, and
They sell that mask now too.
yeah, selling the goat mask.
There's actually a movie that's about to come out with like
You're next,
something like the
Radar.
killer has that mask.
or masks similar to it. Yeah,
That mask.
and they also
It's
had,
that one they borrowed it.
They also had the Yes towel. that
They
Daniel
don't
Bryan
sell
had.
that on the shop because I've looked I've noticed it the past 2 weeks and they don't have it on the shop.
Yeah,
Only at the
give it
events.
time.
No, I don't give it time because
Someone's
I gave the
selling
Christmas
outside
ornament
of
time
events.
and like now it's vanished into thin air. And
No,
like,
what I mean is like give it time for it to show up on the website.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
You better stay
because that was
close
the first
to
week I've
website.
seen it.
they had them last week
Oh,
too.
did
I
they?
noticed it. I thought it was handmade because there was only a couple of people that had it, but this week like everybody had it.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at that. I was like, dude, who saw that message? And
I wouldn't buy the shirt. It's not my style.
Bray
But,
Wyatt.
yeah, but we talked about this, and if you didn't know about them, in the style, it kind of looks like a band's like T-shirt, like a metal or
Yeah. So it's not too bad. I kind of like it, but I probably won't buy it. But still, it's pretty cool. But we did learn that the match that will take place at SummerSlam will indeed be a quote unquote Ring of Fire match, better known as an Inferno match.
No,
But
Inferno
this
is
will-
Beard.
you gotta push them into the
Yeah.
fire.
So I was
wig versus beard match.
But yeah, you won't have to actually set your opponent on fire. So it's going to be a Ring of Fire. It's keeping people out. So there you go. Next up, we got to see Alberto Del Rio going up against Kofi Kingston, and Del Rio taking it to a new level of nastiness, and making Kofi Kingston submit.
Make him submit with his Halloween tights on.
And in this matchup, I don't know. It's just like Kofi just feels like he's just phoning it in. He goes in, he does his movesets, and
I really think they should turn Kofi heel.
I don't know what they should do, but they better do something fast because he's kind of losing grounds on what's going on.
Before you know it, he's gonna be like off of TV, like Santino and.
Well, Santino was injured for a while. I think,
is he injured?
He was, but I think he's about ready to come back. I think.
I just thought he was just off TV.
No, they wouldn't take someone like that off. I know he's been. I think he opened an MMA school or something like that.
I think he did.
Yeah,
he was like a judo badass or something.
Mm-hmm. So, but next up, we got to see the Usos defeat the Real Americans. Doug, what did you think about this matchup?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was fun.
Crowd were behind the Usos.
Yeah, man. I like the more I like. I hate I don't want to keep going back to like Total Divas, but like seeing John on Total Divas, like he's such a likable guy on that show. It makes me like the Usos as a team even more. And I've always kind of liked the Usos. You guys have heard me in the past. It's like they have a crazy good entrance, and that alone will get them over if they just put them on TV, and they have. And I think they've done that. I thought they had a fun match. I hate to see Cesaro like half the job so much, even in the team sense. But I just think that's how their product is in this day and age. Like they don't have specified jobbers, and if you're not a guy who's front and center, then you're just gonna have to job. Like they have like too much like parody booking. Like if you're not being focused, then
SOL.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, the match itself I thought was pretty good. It's good to see that the crowd's getting behind the Usos. With the so that was pretty good. And next up, we got to see Miz TV with John Cena and Daniel Bryan.
You doing the whatever that thing is?
No, I was trying to do their dance. I'm like, good. I wasn't like that. I was going like or something like that.
We should do like our own version of the Uso entrance, but we do like the clueless thing. We're like that. That's what I thought you were doing.
Oh man. That would make for some interesting television, I'll tell you that.
No,
but yeah, we did get to see.
That would suck. People are pressing stop as we speak right now.
So like, I'm turned off now.
Fuck this fucking show.
Miz TV featuring John Cena and Daniel Bryan, and
I like that. I like how they transitioned like Miz into essentially like only a host type guy.
Yeah,
I think that's the best spot for him. He sucks at that too, but like, but it's like.
He does, and this whole
his whole thing is like they pull back and shoot wide, and you see him in the background going like, "Good point, good point." What's he gonna say to this?
And he's like, "Oh man,
that's like his
John
thing.
Cena." It's just God.
What's that time where he's looking around like he has like that pucker, like that fish little face? He's like looking around.
Yeah, just like, like he came off kind of heelish in this segment where he's like, Daniel Bryan, Cena doesn't respect you. He doesn't respect anything about you.
He did.
So, but once Daniel Bryan and John Cena started communicating with one another, it turned into really great TV. Just the back and forth comments with them.
You don't respect me.
Yeah. John Cena basically admitting he doesn't respect Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan saying, I wrestled over in Japan. They have a special custom.
Nookie slap.
Yes, so where they slap each other as hard as they can, but you don't deserve that because you are not a wrestler. So,
dude, I love that. I mean, I loved all of it, but I liked when he slapped him, and after he said you don't deserve it, and like how his hair was and his facial expression, he just like looked like a badass, and then he was just smiling.
He definitely. I love that too. He definitely is like he got the satisfaction of getting under Cena's skin and then saying, "No, you don't deserve it. I'm not slapping you back."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great.
Really good stuff from both Cena and Daniel Bryan. So
Yeah, definitely.
And not the Miz.
and not the Miz.
Hey,
I would have been fine if he would have gotten out of the ring so that we didn't have to stare at his facial expressions while they were talking back and forth. Ooh,
Miz, Miz, get the hell out of the ring, Miz.
So,
And then came the other parts we
what's
didn't
the
really
point of
care
even
about.
having the couches there? No one uses them.
set dressing.
No, they could just have the 2 chairs that no one sits in
Set dressing, man.
that are already there. So.
Then came the 2 people we didn't really care about.
Yeah,
Triple H out of nowhere.
Triple H came down to separate the 2 because Cena was about to lose his temper, and then Orton was there to hold the briefcase.
I'm gonna disagree with you guys here because
Well, I mean,
they didn't have a better way of ending that without them 2 putting their hands on each other. And it escalated to they did in a sense with the slap, but you know what I mean, like pull apart, like really aggressive stuff. They didn't have a better way for them to end it. After, as aggressive as they got with each other, how do you end that without them fighting right then?
Miz needs to step in.
No, but look, see, honestly, do you just cut to commercial? That's super anticlimactic. Do you just say, okay, it's over, and then they just walk off? That's super anticlimactic.
Daniel Bryan laughing, saying, "You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it." Gets out of the ring, starts walking back. You don't deserve it.
I mean, that's fine. I'll see that, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a good way to cut the tension without them having to because these guys haven't really put their hands on each other, and that's when you're going to get the payoff. Like, it's going to be a special match. Like, spoiler, it's going to be a special match, and like when these guys really do lock it up, they're going to get a fucking reaction.
Go ahead and put this one on your best of 2013 card. You know.
Well, you say that, but like I wholeheartedly believe that would be the case. I have a hard time believing it can't be, but I thought it was fine. I think that you kind of have to tease the Orton stuff still. I don't think that's not a problem for me. I really didn't have a problem with Trips or Orton being there. I thought the work stood on its own and it was strong, and I thought it was a fine way to get out of there without having to like kill the momentum they gained from it.
Okay. Interesting. But so that's pretty much how they closed out the Miz TV segment, which is probably the best Miz TV segment that they've had. And Cena made a pretty funny joke about saying, most of these segments are just awful, but this one might be pretty good. But next up, we got to see, I guess, to calm people down a little bit, R-Truth and Fandango having a dance off, and
I think R-Truth looks weird after he cut his hair or whatever he did to his hair.
It's not braided, and so it's like pulled. It's like slicked back a little bit.
It's kind of like loose braids though.
It's strange to see. I know he's been like that for a while now, but it's weird.
Yeah, it's different. It's an adjustment.
We're commenting on style a lot this episode.
Y'all been watching
News
too much.
segment.
Y'all been watching too much E.
You're not watching enough E.
I have no style, apparently, so that's fine with me. But yeah, next up we got to see a 20-man battle royal to determine the number 1 contender for the U.S. title. Rob Van Dam ended up picking up the victory on that one.
I love that Mark Henry got more pops for giving RVD a dap than anybody else in the whole fucking match.
Yeah, and Mark Henry was the last person to be eliminated to give RVD the victory. Came in and gave him a little bit of respect. The Shield comes down because earlier in the night they had said it's not just a catchphrase. Dean Ambrose is the best in the world, and the tag team champions want an opponent.
I don't understand what the heck is.
You would think they were going to do Usos since they put them over Real Americans, but then now it looks like they may do Big Show Mark Henry. Like, what's that?
Like, yeah, man.
I don't know. Well, I mean, like, I'm fine with them. I'm fine with them doing that. I like having 2 contenders at a time, but it feels like they built the Usos, so use the Usos if you built them.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be next.
I mean, I guess they kind of had a shot already, but I mean, so I
You gotta
guess
let someone else have the shot before.
It's
you
weird
give
also
them a
to see
shot
Big
now.
Show just style
He really
again.
took his time getting into that ring too.
Just what?
Like if you're gonna make the save, kind of gotta put a little pep in your step. You can't just waltz on down there.
I think Doug's right. I keep on commenting on Styles, but I say he comes out with this. There's nothing wrong with that. I haven't seen him come out with it.
He looked like high school gym teacher. He's got like
Pretty much.
the bad jeans and like the polo, like tucked in, like with his pants are like a little too high,
Time out.
How were his shoes? Where's
I
his
didn't
shoes
see him.
match?
I didn't see him.
Oh, guys, come
He
on.
looks like he dropped some weight.
Yeah, He's definitely dropped
Looks
some
good.
weight. Posted a picture with him like in the gym and looking jacked. So it'll be interesting to see. The crowd popped at first, and then he took his time getting in the ring, and they were just like, "All right, I don't care anymore."
I think we figured out like our next like podcast. It's gonna be niche. It's gonna be like wrestling style with us. I don't know. Let's do it. That's our new podcast.
Wrestling
All about
Think
style.
about the match. No, we don't care about the match. What were they wearing?
Oh God, fashion police with.
Oh my God.
Guess what they wore? So,
The whole episode.
The whole episode. There you go. But the final segment we saw, Paul Heyman was supposed to be going up against CM Punk.
It's a trap.
And he comes out and says, all of you people saying, "Oh, it's a trap." Well, congratulations, you figured that out on yourself. So it's a trap. So he basically he brings Brock Lesnar to the ring and shows the video package, which I like the video packages that they did where Lesnar was talking about, has Punk been a UFC champion? No. Has he been a division NCAA, wrestling champion? No. And, I really like that. I saw a comment that said, live mic Brock Lesnar equals bad, scripted, edited, video package Brock Lesnar, great.
I'll disagree. I think it's all about how long you give him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's not like a guy who's going to go out there and go off the rails if you give him a mic. You and you give him enough time to work. If you give him like too much time, he's going to like not know what to do to fill it. But if you if he has a live mic, I don't think it matters as long as he knows exactly what he's going to say. Then he passes the mic to Paul. It's not
stupid.
I don't think it has anything to do with being like live or pre-taped.
Okay.
I think it's just like he can't cut a 12-minute promo. He just
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
he can deliver an awesome line if you give him like a minute.
But yeah, so they got a nice little video package, and Heyman was doing good stuff on the microphone, saying, "Look, if he comes down here, then he's playing the role of the hero, a stupid hero, but the hero nonetheless. And if he decides not to, then he's smart. He's saying, hey, I want to wait until SummerSlam to fight, and that's the smart thing to do."
And then before you know it, CM Punk was disguised as a cameraman.
He was not disguised as a cameraman. He hopped in the ring and took a prop camera and smashed Lesnar over the back of smashed him in the front of the head with it, and then hit him a few more times and tried to go after Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman ran up to the top of the entrance ramp, and Curtis Axel came down and got a GTS for the trouble, and that's pretty much how they closed out Raw.
You don't have this match on the predictions.
I don't. Oh, all right. Well, we'll make
I
sure to
said
get
that about him disguised as a cameraman because did you say who posted that? Like
The
that?
WWE
posted-
Facebook page.
Yeah, they said CM Punk just as a cameraman.
He was
disguised as a cameraman.
Yeah, that was bad. So, made the comment. Whoever typed that up didn't watch the segment. So they were just going based on what they saw, I guess. But yeah, so that's pretty much how we close out Raw, the final Raw before SummerSlam, the quote unquote second largest event of the wrestling year. So, all in all, it was just a go home show. Some was good, some was pretty bad. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, Tyler.
I thought it was good.
All right. Well, now it's time to go into the SummerSlam predictions. Going to be taking place this Sunday on pay-per-view. Going to have the kickoff match. For some reason, this isn't going to be during the actual pay-per-view. It'll be before it. The kickoff match, Dean Ambrose versus Rob Van Dam for the U.S. title. And who you guys going to go with on this one?
Ambrose.
I will pick Ambrose as well. If it were during the show, I might say Rob Van Dam, but just because it's the kickoff show, you never know.
I don't think. I mean, they wouldn't give it to him. I think he'll help him in the match. There'll be a good match between them.
Yeah, this one's a lot of this whole pay per view is kind of hard to call in my opinion. Almost dropped my phone. It's some of them are just kind of tough to pick, but I guess Tyler, go ahead and pick
That's a
up.
good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean it's good that it's not predictable or boring. So we'll have to see where it goes. So Tyler, go ahead and pick the next match.
Natalia versus Brie Bella with the Funkadactyls, and they got Eve Marie with them too. So
Whoa, I was under the impression it's like trios, right? It's like 3-on-3, right?
Yeah, well, at the moment, WWE.com has Natalia versus Brie Bella. But, the way that they made it look on Raw would be Natalia and the Funkadactyls versus the Bellas and Eva Marie. So, it's hard to tell at the moment.
Well, I don't know. Well, my pick may have changed if it depended on what the match was.
Okay, so if it's Natalia versus Brie, and then you can do Natalia and the Funkadactyls versus
yeah, because
Bellas
on
and Eva
Raw
Marie.
I thought it was going to be a 3-on-3.
Yeah. It looked that way.
I don't know. You go. I'm thinking.
Okay. If it's the 3-on-3, I'm gonna go with Natalia and the Funkadactyls. If it's just Natalia versus Brie, I'm gonna pick Brie. How about you, Tyler?
Shiz Knight.
Night Shyamalan?
I don't know. If it's 1-on-1, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna pick the same as you. If it's 1-on-1, I think Brie Bella is gonna win. If it's 3-on-3, I'll go for Natalia. And
Okay.
Funkadactyls.
You know what? I'm gonna say no matter what, I'm gonna go with the heels. Whether it's a Brie or the Bellas and Eva Maria, I'm gonna take them. I just feel like those three are more the focus of Total Divas, and I think the purpose of this match is to pimp Total Divas. So
On E.
That's a good point.
so I'm gonna take the heels.
Does that mean you're
regardless.
gonna change your mind there, Tyler? Take your time.
Yes.
Yes, you're changing your mind?
Doug convinced me.
All right, so you're going heels regardless. All right. Okay.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because you should totally check out that show.
Total Divas, yes, on E, Sunday nights.
So there you go. Next up, Doug, we'll let you pick the next matchup.
Oh, I think Ziggler and Caitlyn versus Big E and AJ.
All right. This matchup kind of just, odd pairings and see where they go from there. But who are you going to pick with on this one?
I'm gonna go with Ziggler and Caitlyn.
All right. How about you, Tyler?
Ditto.
All right. And I will third that, I guess. I won't second. I'll third that. So there you go.
Third that.
So
We'll make it unanimous.
there you go. Thank you very much for that, Doug. I couldn't think of the word for that one. So Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn are picks to be victorious over Big E, Langston, and AJ. We'll do the next one being Cody Rhodes versus Damian Sandow.
So are they putting? They're not putting
No,
the briefcase.
the briefcase is not on the line.
He didn't get that pimp ass new briefcase just to get Cody
Yeah.
get his dirty little hands on it.
I know they're putting a lot of. Try to put more focus on Damian, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with Cody.
Cody? All right.
I think this is a difficult one to call because I don't know the end game here. I don't know if this is one and done. They want to feud him for the month, or if this is something they want to stretch out for a little bit. And I think it's different depending on what they want to do. I think if it's a feud for the month and they move on to something else, I think. Well, no, maybe I can see them do that either way. And they like to job the briefcase guy. They just do. They like to make it feel like the win comes out of nowhere. So they like to job them every chance they get instead of build them as a credible contender. I don't know why they choose that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I can see them putting Cody over here. If that was the case. But I can also see from a face heel dynamic, I can see Sandow going over first, and then with the end game being Cody gets over and Sandow still has the case. So he's they think of him as being bulletproof just because he has the case. So it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. I'm not convinced. You guys convinced me. What did you say, Amber?
I picked Cody.
I don't know. State your case. Convince me. I don't know.
I don't know. I do see the. Yeah, sorry about that. I do feel the same point that they do always, job the person to have the briefcase. But I don't know. I kind of feel like they should give Cody a win, just because Damien's getting all this attention because he had the briefcase and all that stuff.
Well, like, essentially, the way I look at it, is if Cody gets a win here clean, like, then there's no reason for these guys to feud anymore.
Well, you see the opposite way then.
Well, if they're going to stretch it out if it's one and done, I can see them just go ahead and give it to Cody the win. But if they're going to stretch their legs and tell a little bit more of a story with it, I can see Sandow going over here.
Here's what I could see as a possibility. Cody Rhodes gets the victory at SummerSlam, and while Damien Sandow's trying to recover, Cody steals the briefcase again, saying, "Hey, if you want it back this time, you're gonna have to fight me for it." Winner gets
that's
briefcase.
dumb. I hate that.
Well, you also have to think this is WWE and the way.
No, I'm just like, I have a big problem with putting the briefcase on the line. Like, he won the fucking match.
Yeah.
The guy who wins the Rumble shouldn't be stupid enough to put his
Yeah, I know.
main
And I
event
wouldn't
on.
put him past him to do a match like that and lose it because,
The only
Kennedy
guy-
thing.
Cena's the only guy who did that. Didn't he do that with his Rumble spot and his briefcase? He put both of those on the line.
Well, also Kennedy put his on the line against Edge, and he lost.
Well, yeah, but that's because
and they forced Ziggler to do it against Cena at TLC last year.
But didn't Cena put his briefcase on the line? No, he won it.
I don't think
off
so.
of-
Yeah,
okay. He put his Royal Rumble win
Against Punk.
Okay, that's what it was.
In that awesome match in Dallas.
You know what? I'm going Cody. I'm gonna say Cody here.
All right, I'll go Cody as well. So there you go. I'll do the next matchup being Kane versus Bray Wyatt in an Ring of Fire match. It's a classic one-on-one match, but the ring will be surrounded by fire, and Johnny Cash will be with us in spirit singing Ring of Fire. So who are you guys gonna go with, Kane or Bray Wyatt?
I think it's like an utter failure if Bray Wyatt doesn't go over here.
Yeah, Bray.
Bray?
Yeah, Bray.
All right, all three of us picking Bray Wyatt to be victorious in this match. I'll be curious to see how they pull that off. So we'll go ahead and do the next one. Do you want to do a championship match, or do you want to do best versus beast?
Don't matter.
All right, let's do CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar.
Jack Dagnalls.
Special sauce.
Sorry.
So
I don't know what they're talking about.
so who are you guys gonna pick the best versus the beast?
I really don't know.
This is where we start getting into the really hard to pick apart.
I'm gonna say Brock Lesnar, and I'm gonna say Brock Lesnar fairly confidently.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go opposite. I'm gonna go Punk.
But I think Brock Lesnar is the person that should win, and I think he's gonna win.
Yeah, and especially if they're planning on keeping Brock around for a while. You don't want to have him keep coming back and losing. Although his last match he won against Triple H, but I could really see this going either way. So
I think Punk will probably get revenge eventually, but like now is not the time for that.
And not to mention Punk still hasn't gotten his hands on Paul Heyman, so the crowd is biting at the bits.
Well, you could do that in the match.
Yeah. So and that could cause him the match, or something like that.
I think Brock needs and has to have the win here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you, Doug. I'm gonna pick Brock Lesnar to be victorious on that one. So that'll take us into the next matchup: Christian versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Who are you guys gonna go with on this one?
I feel like Del Rio is gonna keep it. He hasn't had it that long.
Okay.
I got a lot of love for Christian, but I think they're way more invested in Del Rio.
I mean, I want Christian to have the belt for a longer period of time.
I felt like the video package that they did on Raw for Christian was sort of like a, getting ready to have a send off kind of thing. Like that was
He's doing
like
he said when I came back, I said I wanted one more match.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like the video package to me was sort of like all right, we're getting your video package ready for the Hall of Fame for whenever you call it quits, which is probably going to be soon. Regardless of,
I like Christian a lot, but he is not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Christian as much as anybody, but there's
a lot of people
who need to go in before Christian.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I say that as respectfully as possible.
Yeah, he's a great wrestler.
He's a
but
good hand.
there are-
He was never a top guy. He was never a top draw. He was just a good hand who had good matches with people. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
top draw in
he's-
TNA.
well, man, he can go in the TNA Hall of Fame. He's like as valid as anybody going to the TNA Hall of Fame. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that belt's not going anywhere. Dario's going to keep it.
All right, so all three of us will pick Alberto Del Rio for the victory on this one. Final matchup: WWE Championship on the line. John Cena versus Daniel Bryan. Who's gonna pull this one off? Triple H special guest referee.
Well, do you think that this is like really as simple as we think it should be, and they're only putting the smoke and mirrors there to make it seem less apparent?
It could be because I feel like it's simple, but
It seems like a really simple call to me, but it seems like they're like, well, we can't make it too obvious, so let's put, maybe that's why they put all this around.
smoke and mirrors. I don't know. It could be that way too.
So, but who's gonna be victorious? Who's gonna have their hand held high? End all be all.
Well, I think it's a humongous mistake to not put the belt on Bryan here.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are a lot of people who are of the school of thought that Steve Austin was the hottest thing in the company and never got the belt until like the following WrestleMania, and that's true. But like the way that they book things is at a completely different clip these days. Like everything is like super fast. They don't take for granted that people have that kind of attention span
It really
anymore.
is.
And they had the luxury of long-term, like, slow burn booking with Austin. I don't think they have that anymore. I think it's a mistake because I think it's a mistake to hold off that long with Bryan, because what if the magic's not there whenever
Yeah.
it happens?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people seem to think a lot of people can see him winning the Rumble and then going on to win it at WrestleMania 30, which would be really cool because I intend to be there, and that would be awesome. But there's no way I can see that. I think it's a huge mistake if Bryan doesn't win either way. I think the interesting thing here is if Orton's cashing in or not. I think that's the real question here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a doubt. I understand the train of thought that people say they're not convinced that Cena's not going to lose, but I think he loses. I think Orton is the real question here, and that's something that I'm struggling with, because to me, like, to put the belt, like, there are a handful of reasons you put the belt on a guy. Like, number one being, like, can you tell a better story with this guy than you can with the other guy who has the belt? And I don't think that's possible with Orton. I don't think you have better stories. I don't think you have fresh matchups. Like, I don't know who he feuds with. He turns heel and he feuds with Cena again, which they've done for years.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in years, but they did it for a significant period of time. Or he feuds with Bryan because he took the belt from him. But they already did a mini feud with him and Bryan basically over the same thing. Like, the same story they would be telling is, like, he's not good enough. Like, so I don't think you can tell a better story. I don't think you have fresher mashups with him.
I don't know if it'll be a good chance or not. I don't think it'll be a good chance. But what if Orton is the second one to try cash in and fails at it?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think he's purely safety precaution. Like, in case. Let me get to that. Like, I think, like, another reason you would put the belt on a guy is if the belt is gonna elevate the guy. The belt is not gonna elevate Orton at all. It just won't. Like, Orton is who he is. Like, I think he's a gatekeeper. I'm not sure he's, like, the man anymore. Heel or face, I don't think he's the man anymore. I think he's plateaued where he is. I think he's the gatekeeper to the main event, and guys go through him to get there. I think that's a perfectly fine spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the belt elevates Orton. And the only other reason besides those two, I think, is the guy going to elevate the belt. And I don't think Orton elevates the belt either. But those in all three of those columns where Orton has like red X's, I see like green check marks for Bryan. I think it's a more compelling story with Bryan people saying, oh, you just got handed a title shot and he's proven himself out guy after guy. I think that's a more compelling story. I think the belt does elevate Bryan. I think he is the most over dude in the company right now, but I still think the belt puts him even higher level, putting the belt on him.
Yeah.
And there ain't another motherfucker in this company that's going to elevate the belt better than Bryan. Bryan's going to elevate the shit out of the belt. He's going to be having good matches with guys who are incapable. He's going to drag them along to good matches, and when he's in there with capable guys, he's going to be having fucking awesome matches. He's going to elevate the fuck out of the belt. So I think he elevates the belt elevates him, and I think that he has better story potential. He's got fresher options. He's got fresher opponents. I think all green lights for Bryan. I think it's a huge mistake to not only is it a huge mistake to not put the belt on Bryan in here, I think it's almost as big of a mistake as if you put Orton to cash in. I think Orton, in their mind, I'm hoping, and some of this is maybe fanboyism, because I guess it's possible to do something interesting with Orton cashing in, but I think Orton is a safety precaution. They're saying, we're about to take a big chance on this guy, and he's the safety if we think that Bryan runs it into the ground when we give him the keys. Like, he's just like, if shit gets out of control and they're like, well, we trust Orton, he's an established name, we can put the belt on him if we have to.
Right.
I think that's the safety. So I'm going to say Bryan wins here. He's not going to tap him, but Bryan's going to win here clean with the small package and no cash.
Also, if
small package from and no cash.
Just Cena.
No cash.
God, so cool.
I think it's a huge mistake if he doesn't win the belt. I think it's almost as big of a mistake if you give Orton the cash in.
Okay.
I would love for him to win with the small package.
How about you, Tyler?
I'm for Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan?
He's not going to tap him. You know it's small package.
Cash in?
Well, no cash.
No cash in?
I would like for him to tap Cena. I know it's not going to happen, but like we've talked about the small package.
He doesn't need to tap him.
Yeah, I know. But with the small package, it's just cool because you don't see that as an end move, these days, or that much, or someone like straight up like a face doing that.
Do you disagree in any? Do you guys disagree in any way? Like, I think, as far as what I consider a reason to put a belt on a guy, like Bryan's all green lights.
Yeah.
And
there's no need for Cena to keep it, or for now, and there's no need for
what is Bryan's a fresh matchup with anybody they want to have him in with, basically. Because he did a little something with Orton, but he's just now. You could even do a rematch with Cena again, like that's still fresh.
Yeah.
And then Bryan with anybody's fresh. I mean, like
here's where I see my dream booking going. Like if I were in charge.
Ooh, I got one too after you.
Okay. Here's what I see happening. SummerSlam happens. The match is fantastic. We have a clean ending with Daniel Bryan getting the small package after say a 32 minute long matchup. So he's exhausted. Cena is bewildered as to how he lost. Orton comes out ready to cash in on a exhausted Daniel Bryan. He decides to cash in. Daniel Bryan gets the upper hand, ends up defeating Randy Orton. This causes Randy Orton to say, "This was my guarantee. I should have had this." Causes him to go mad. And that's what causes him to eventually turn heel, because he just snaps because this was my guaranteed opportunity at getting the title back once again, and so then you can have a short feud between, all three of them or something. Or maybe not all three, but,
because if you think about it, it's almost like he really is just a safety net, because they did the Money in the Bank super weird this year. They're like, okay, all established guys in this match.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, okay, which one of these guys is going to be the safety net? And then like we're giving Bryan the keys. If he drops the ball,
if
then we'll plug
drop
in.
below this point, we'll have Orton go out there. But like if they actually were to take a chance on this guy, saying, we've noticed what he's doing for the business, have Orton go out there, and then if Daniel Bryan should turn heel again, he could do the Jericho bragging rights. I beat John Cena and Randy Orton in the same night.
See, I don't even think you have to do the failed cash in that night. They could do it,
or it could happen after the rematch between Cena and Bryan. But
you could give yourself time to be comfortable with him as a champion and still do the failed cash in.
Yeah. So I mean,
I really think that they should do a failed cash-in with Orton.
And I think that would be the driving force for him to, bring out that aggression that we know that he can do whenever he's heel. So I'm going to pick Daniel Bryan to be victorious, and Orton tries to cash in but fails either at SummerSlam or at the rematch between Cena and Bryan. So that's where I'll go. What was your dream booking?
Oh, mine didn't have anything to do with Orton. My dream booking is Bryan's the champ and he's awesome and stuff. And then at WrestleMania 30, you got Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. After Brock Lesnar runs through Punk and everyone else, I want Bryan Lesnar like almost as I want Bryan Lesnar as bad as I want Bryan Cena. Like those are like I want both those matches before he leaves. So whatever gets us to Bryan Lesnar at WrestleMania 30.
Lesnar tap in.
That'd be fucking awesome.
That'd be insane. But yeah, so all three of us picking Daniel Bryan to go over John Cena at SummerSlam. Let us know.
Is he gonna tap him, or are you gonna go?
No,
Mr.
he's
Small?
not gonna tap.
Mr. Small Package.
No, Cena.
Mr. Small Package. You should call him that.
Cena doesn't tap, and we all know this. So,
should tap
so we're gonna have a special segment, and then we're gonna go right into Total Divas after this.
Sauce.
You're listening to a special interview segment for the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com.
Okay, folks, joining us on the show this week, a member of the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2004, former WWE Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion. His autobiography, Tales from the Ring, is available wherever books are sold. The one and only Tito Santana. Mr. Santana, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on. We certainly appreciate you coming on, and you will be appearing at the Clutch City Productions Super Show at the Pasadena Convention Center at 7902 Fairmont Parkway on August 31st. Also scheduled to appear will be Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, X-Pac, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, recently announced TNA superstar Hernandez, as well as former WWE diva Miss Jackie. For more information on that, go to ClutchCityProductions.com. And Mr. Santana, what are your thoughts on going to events like this, having fans still recognize you, come up and want to talk to you about their favorite moments during your career?
Well, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's been a long time since I've been to Houston. I came to WrestleMania 25 as a guest of the WWE, but I didn't get out to meet any of the fans. So this is a very special occasion for me, especially because my family lives just 50 miles south of Houston, and I'm going to be coming a couple of days early and getting to spend some time with my family.
Oh, very nice. Is it always nice, talking to the fans about, like their favorite moments and some of your favorite moments during your career?
Well, that's the reason that I'm still, making appearances, because the fans made all the wrestlers, I owe everything to the fans, and whenever I have a chance to meet a fan face to face, they always come up with stories that I have completely forgot about, that they bring back, old memories, and it's just so nice to see, how what you meant to the fans. They're always thanking me for what I did. For the sport and what I did for them, for entertaining them for many, many years, and that never gets old.
It's one of those things where you meet people who say they grew up watching you and how much of an influence you had on their life, and now you're doing that outside the ring by being a teacher. How's the experience been? Well,
I always talk about. To me, being a teacher is giving back. It was my 8th grade gym coach, Coach Luis Sanchez in Mission, Texas, that, to me, I owe everything. He got me into sports. I could have gone the wrong way and ended up, having a completely different life. He got me into sports. I ended up getting a football scholarship, and one thing led to another, and, I went from being a migrant worker to having quite a bit of success in life, and I'm really grateful. And as a teacher, I just hope that I have made a difference, and I know I have made a difference on quite a few students already. So it's very rewarding to me.
That's cool.
Well, that's very good stuff. And, us being from Texas as well as you, it's really good to, hear someone being successful, because you hear too many negatives out there in the world. And it's good to see that you're, being a positive influence, a positive, role model for the kids. And your introduction into wrestling, it's been well documented by being introduced to it by Tully Blanchard as well as a few others. But, you said you were going there. You were in college under a football scholarship. What were you studying? What were you trying to become? If you had declined becoming a wrestler, what would you have wanted to be?
Well, it was the 8th grade coach, and being a football player, I just felt that I was going to be a coach, and I was going to, aim at doing the same thing that he did for me. I mean, he didn't give up on me, and I didn't. At first, I turned him down when he tried to get me into football, and then he tried it again, and the next time he convinced me, and I started playing football when I was a freshman in high school, and we were ranked second in the state, and my sophomore year, and I was the only sophomore that made the varsity, and he must have seen something in me that I didn't see, and I'm forever grateful, and my hopes were to do the same thing for somebody else in the future.
That's very cool. But you did choose the path of wrestling for a few years. Well, I say a few years, but quite a long career, you could say. In your career, did have a great feud with Greg the Hammer Valentine that lasted well over a year. What are your thoughts on some of the major companies like WWE that don't really drag out feuds anymore? They feel rushed nowadays, just because I think the attention span of the audience has shortened. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I just think the fan is missing out on so much. Greg the Hammer Valentine and myself. I mean, we did have a great feud, and the ultimate settlement of the feud was the cage match, and we had lumberjack matches. We had time limit matches in Madison Square Garden. We had tape fist matches, and and the fans all over the world were accustomed to long feuds, and great feuds. I'm not going to say that my feud was the best ever, but it was the longest feud in the history of the WWF. And I think the fans really used to get right into the storylines and look forward to see how the feud was going to be settled. And I just think they don't have those opportunities anymore.
And speaking of opportunities like that, growing into your career, leading into the mid '90s, you were considered one of the greats in the Intercontinental Championship division. It was considered one of those prestigious honors to earn. And with the way things are going now, it seems like the WWE seems to underutilize it, and it just kind of transitions from person to person and not really building any feuds around it. Do you feel like that kind of lessens the title and the meaning of being an Intercontinental Champion?
Yeah, from what I understand, none of the belts really have that much value anymore. The world title was a world title. The wrestlers wrestled competitors from all over the world, and now, for example, the world title in the WWE is you're just competing against wrestlers in the WWE. So what's the world now? Intercontinental Champion at some point, back then was almost as popular as the world title. So I just don't, and the World Tag Team matches, the titles, the tag team titles. People used to love those, tag team feuds, and all of that is in the past. But it's a different time. Vince has changed, professional wrestling forever. Now it's a TV show. It used to be a wrestling show.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of tag teams, you were part of the popular tag team Strike Force for a while with Rick Martel. What were your first thoughts when you were told you were going to be working in the tag division as opposed to singles competition?
Well, I enjoyed being a single wrestler. I thought I was best when I was, competing, one-on-one. But Rick Martel was such a great wrestler that when the opportunity was there, I really looked forward to it because I knew that I could carry the load, and he could carry the load, and I was responsible, and he was responsible, and I knew it was a no-miss situation.
Do you feel that kind of plays into like today's generation of tag teams where they're kind of, some of them are brought in, but, they're kind of just thrown together?
Yeah, I mean, the tag teams here, haven't had a chance to develop a relationship with each other. Like you said, they just throw them together, and all of a sudden they make up a tag team, and it takes a while to work in sync in the tag team match.
What was it like working during the transition period for the WWE to go from territory to a single company?
Well, I was there right from the beginning. I was in the first 9 WrestleManias, and all of a sudden we went from wrestling in high school gymnasiums to and being on the car, driving all over the place, to flying all over the world. All of a sudden we're performing in the Middle East, we're performing in Asia, we're performing all Europe, and nothing but big arenas. And everywhere we went, people recognized us, and all of a sudden, we were superstars, and it was a. It was a different era. It was, it was pretty cool.
Very nice. You did mention, your WrestleMania career. You were in the very first match at WrestleMania, and it's kind of been documented. You originally didn't want to be the opener, but upon looking back, are you kind of glad you were? So that you can always say that you were the first. Without WrestleMania, or without that opening match to get the crowd into it, who knows where WrestleMania would have been.
Yeah, looking back, and the responsibility that Vince gave me to set the tempo for the night, gave the opening match in WrestleMania 1 more of an importance, and I realized the importance the longer I'm around. The more I realize it.
Very nice. Did you have a favorite moment of your career, or anything that you look back and think, man, that was that was something I'm just going to remember forever?
Well, probably my favorite moment was, before I got to New York, my biggest accomplishment was when I wrestled right there in Houston in a championship match against Nick Bockwinkel, and I had an hour draw against Nick Bockwinkel. And I received Wrestler of the Year, and it was really nice. Paul Bosch was a great promoter, and Houston to me was what catapulted me to worldwide recognition. And then the next big thing was stepping into Madison Square Garden. In front of 24,000 people. It was just unbelievable.
Very nice. Do you feel like the territories, were sort of crucial to wrestling, but because nowadays they kind of just say, oh, well, this guy looks good, so we'll train him to come into a wrestler. Whereas, people who worked in the territories, that, sort of honed their craft, went from town to town saying, all right, I can work this matchup. And then eventually it built up to, a pretty good career. Do you feel like the territories helped a lot more than what the guys are going through today?
Yeah, definitely. That's why they're liking. The guys that are coming into Vince, they have experience. Vince has a school. They have experience. In working out. In front of a small crowd, and but they don't have the experience of being involved in some serious angles and learning and working with better wrestlers than yourself. Like when I first got started, about the first 3 years, pretty much every night that I wrestled, we wrestled every night. Mm-hmm. We went up against better wrestlers, and every time you wrestle against somebody that's better than you, you're going to learn. And these guys don't have the opportunity to learn from somebody that's better. when you wrestle with somebody that's equal to you or less, it's impossible to learn anything. You need to be taught with experiences in the ring by guys who know it better than you do, and that's how we learn. We learn psychology, but from what I understand, psychology is not that important anymore. We used to do our own interviews. We used to just pop them out of our head, and now they give you a script. So it's a completely different ballgame now.
I couldn't agree more. Do you feel like now? The wrestlers nowadays, they sort of have their own move sets. Like this is my finisher, this is my comeback, and this is what I'm going to do. So you can't do that. Whereas, you would utilize the figure four as well as Greg the Hammer Valentine. Whereas now most people recognize it as Ric Flair's. Do you, what are your thoughts on like the move sets saying, okay, I'm only going to work this style of wrestling?
Well, I think, like, we're considered the legends, and the legends. I mean, there were so many different styles, and now if you watch a wrestling show, pretty much everybody has the same style. They do things, no rhyme or reason in the ring. Everything we did meant something, and now people are doing just things just to do things.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never be able to compare the worker in our era than the worker that there's now. I mean, there are a few good workers. I mean, Randy Orton, comes almost from old school. I've seen some of his matches, and he's got psychology. But his dad, he learned from his dad, and there's quite a few. There's very few wrestlers, that were able to learn, and have any idea of ring psychology. I mean, from what I understand, it's not important in the ring anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could go back to, the quote-unquote old school wrestling tapes or DVDs now, and, the fans would get pumped over a clothesline, whereas now today, you have to hit 3 finishers and bash them with a chair in order to get the crowd excited.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's just
different ball game.
Very. Do you feel that with the reality shows and social media sites like Facebook and Twitter that sort of pull back the curtain now, show they show the real person playing the character seen on TV? Do you feel like kayfabe is pretty much dead?
Yeah, well, I think Vince pretty much exposed the business in the first place. When he came out and said that it was entertainment. Mm-hmm. Took the wrestling part away from it, and now it's entertainment all the way. And I mean, how can you knock what he's doing? I mean, he's making a ton of money and he's drawing a big crowds. He just moved on with time.
Yeah, it's just kind of tough seeing it because, like, we grew up watching this stuff, and it's always been called wrestling, and the people in the stands have always been called fans, not universe or sports entertainment. So it's it's hard to try and adapt to that.
Well, I think the WWE is fighting. From what I understand, the ratings are down, and
mm-hmm.
It's not. A lot of times they make it appear like there's more people than there really is, and from what I understand, they're having a hard time drawing, the big crowds. So, it'll never be like it used to be. And every time you speak to a wrestling fan, the wrestling fan will always tell you, wrestling was better when, you guys were doing it in the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. I feel that it was, but who am I to say?
Yeah, and, it's been said by many people, wrestling fans are one of the most dedicated group, but, I think with digital cable and satellite cable offering you, 500 channels, it really thins it out. And with, people trying to make things more real, like UFC obviously being, a main factor of that, it kind of drives some of the older audience towards that because they want to see more real and less sort of fantasy.
Right.
But
well, back then, I mean, I believe that the wrestlers abuse their bodies now more than we did.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, I think pretty much every wrestler in the ring knew how to handle himself and knew how to wrestle, and I do believe that there was more wrestling fans that thought that wrestling was real back then than it is now.
Definitely. Going sort of into your, private life, I guess, during your Hall of Fame induction, Shawn Michaels stated, that many of the guys in the back wanted what they called the Tito thing, meaning they wanted a lengthy wrestling career, a loving wife to come home to, and a few kids. What are your thoughts on having obtained that lifestyle that so many wrestlers would want? And what advice would you give to any wrestlers who happen to be listening to us that are, fresh into the business and hope that they can have the same thing?
Well, I mean, my biggest advice is if you have a wife and kids, you can't go out on the road and live like you don't have a wife and you don't have a kid and you don't have kids. You got to respect what you have at home, and you earn respect from the wrestlers. I've never been one that went around preaching, and I just like to lead by example.
Yeah.
Very nice. And you are being a great role model and teaching the children. Are there any like wrestlers that you tend to work with, or anyone that you sort of favor and might offer advice if they were to come up to you?
When I still do small independent shows, and if somebody comes and talks to me, asks me to watch their matches and ask questions, I'm willing to help them out and to watch their match and to critique their matches. But a lot of these young guys, they don't have a clue what they don't know, but they think they know it all, and if they don't ask me for advice, I'm not gonna. If I see them doing something wrong, I'm not gonna go walk up and criticize them because they don't think they're doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on. Once again, you'll be over at Clutch City Productions Super Show, taking place Labor Day weekend out at the Pasadena Convention Center in Pasadena, Texas, 7902 Fairmont Parkway. All the wrestlers are going to be there Saturday, August 31st, between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. You yourself will be out there. And for all things Tito Santana, go to titosantana.net. Are there any other websites or social media that you have where fans can reach out to you?
Well, Santana's Hair Salon here, we have a website also in Roxbury, New Jersey. But no, TitoSantana.net is probably the only one that I have. I'm not on Facebook. I don't tweet. So, just the only way to reach me is, TitoSantana.net, I guess.
Very nice, awesome.
Thank you.
And we certainly do appreciate it. We're going to try and go up there to the Clutch City so that we can see you. And it's an absolute honor to have you on, and we certainly do appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm really looking forward to coming down there for a lot of different reasons. I know I have a lot of fans there in Houston, and I'm looking forward to talking to quite a few of them, and getting together with my family in Lake Jackson.
It'll be very nice. All right. Well, safe travels and take care, and we hope to see you out there.
Okay. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
All right. Have a good night.
Arriba!
And now, Total Divas with Doug and Tyler. Mostly Doug.
No wonder people call you fat on Twitter.
Shut up! I have to say, I feel like a real diva.
You are a grown-ass woman.
Why are you pointing at me here?
Because it's time for your special segment.
Total Divas, what it do?
Total Divas. All
You ever watch this week?
Yes.
Okay,
I did.
we're good.
Oh, we're fine then.
We gotta stay afloat.
Yes. So yeah, round 3, we're back
Round 3
for that ass.
Bitches.
for that ass.
Tapping it.
3 different storylines, like
Tap it in.
like each
That's how they do
episode.
it.
Yeah. What's this? Which one? Let's see. We could do the one between first with Trinity and John,
Let's do that one.
Okay.
Let's do
We're
it.
just kind of bossing you around like that.
Trinity and John.
He's taking control.
We're a tag team.
Okay, I gotta think. How did it first start out? Was it?
Well, she came back and she wasn't wearing a ring, and he was all like, "Yo,
Oh yeah.
is it just me or is John like the cool? Like, seems like the coolest dude?" I was like, "I want to hang.
Seems like it just.
I want to
real
hang
nice
out."
and
Jimmy
cool.
Uso, call me. I want to hang out, bro.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So.
Yeah, but he was like, "Yo, where's your ring at?" And she's like, "I don't really wear it at work because
Okay. I know this is Earth too.
they're engaged."
But when she's pretty much saying, I don't know if I'm skipping. When she says that WWE wants their divas to look more, like single, more
Right.
attracted to. I understand that you don't wear your ring maybe while you're wrestling. I understand that. I just
Don't wanna
because-
I think
your
she
hand.
means more like photo shoots and stuff like that. You're like want to appear desirable to like dudes, like because they want.
Hey,
that's a
some
market they're looking
dudes
for.
get off to like, hey, I'm gonna get that married woman.
Really? Tell us about these dudes.
Yeah, they're out there.
Expand on that. I'm interested in this. You're red as a fucking.
So there's a
Look how
community out there. You go
How
to
many
this
married
website.
women do you go after?
There's a website. What's the
There's a
website?
website.
What's the web address? What's the URL?
Getthatmarriageass.com.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm surprised that you know .org.
I totally made that up. No,
If that domain would like to sponsor the show, just go ahead and email us.
no. So they're pretty much arguing through the whole episode, and he was like, "Why don't you just wear that ring?" And then he was like, "We've been engaged for like 2 years or so, and she doesn't want to think
Well, he
about
was like,
marriage.
well, they haven't set a date yet.
They
is
haven't
the
set a
thing.
date.
He's like, so what happens when we set the date? And she was like, and then it's official, like a referee with a whistle. And he's like, really? Okay.
Yes,
And then
I like that.
Trinity's got the best lines because she's also the one that said that she said if she's a dancer, then I'm an astronaut.
And then she also said that her,
But even Marie
her
couldn't
cookie's
do-
hanging out.
Trinity's the star of the show. She's being played off for the Bella. She's got all the best lines.
Yeah, so
Trinity isms.
and then they argued everywhere in their apartment, at a restaurant. It is pretty much they kind of separate just for a little bit, or they
They're just-
argue.
they just got in a fight.
Little fallout.
They're just fighting.
Yeah, and then then other shit happens, and out of nowhere, the other Funkadactyl comes in because they go.
No. Come on, you can't go there yet. You gotta.
What was before?
Well, like she was at practice, and you can tell she was down because they were at the training facility with NXT, and Natalia goes to talk to her and stuff. Sarah Del Rey
I was about to say
exciting.
Sarah Del Rey.
Yeah, they shut her like a few times. It was awesome. She was just kind of like, "What the
they're
fuck are
practicing.
these girls doing?"
Yeah, they're doing it, and her mind's out there. I think she's second guessing herself with stuff. And then,
Well, like she just like Natalia could tell that she was like, whatever. She took her aside to be like, "Yeah, what's up?" And that's
no,
JoJo.
That's JoJo.
Fuck, I fucked that up.
No, Bill DeMott is giving Trinity some shit.
Is she?
Yeah, Bill DeMott.
Oh
was in
yeah,
there.
yeah. You're right about she.
Sarah Del Rey just stand there. She don't talk.
Yeah, she's just like, what the world's going on?
Then
with this?
John's there because she was going to do the leg drop onto John.
Yeah, she was
And I
doing-
don't know where John's like, yeah, what did he say? Where it's like, we've been engaged for like 2 years. Like all of a sudden he just like shot out and like said like the
Yeah.
information out.
Yeah, he says it like real weird. Well, first she was like, she was gonna do like a slingshot leg drop on John. He's like practicing with her or whatever, and because she's talking about how she's like, I'm athletic and I can do all these moves that the other chicks can't do or whatever. But she kind of kept hesitating. DeMott calls her out on it. It's like, why are you hesitating? He's like, why are you second guessing yourself? And John's like, man. Then John just like busts out. He's like, man, she's second guessing everything,
Yeah.
like our relationship,
Out
like
of
this whole
nowhere.
thing. And she was like, why the fuck would you bring like our personal shit up and like at work? And she's kind of right. I mean, like that was kind of a dick move.
And he was like, "Are you serious?" And he act like it ain't no thing.
Yeah.
Ain't no thing.
Okay.
P-H-A-N-G.
Was there anything between that and then when they go to Raw, back to Raw, or they argue more? I think. I'm getting the order
They
wrong.
they argued a lot, but they pretty much made like the thing was she like had a boyfriend who like what did he like cheat on her or something?
Yeah, cheated on her.
Yeah, so she
So
can't
she's all
she can't
conscious about
commit.
that.
Yeah, she can't commit because she's got baggage from her previous. He's like, yo, you know, and then like way earlier we skipped it where he was like, yo, I'll be there for you if you let me when he slapped the shit out of that glass. And
Glass never saw it coming.
yeah. And yeah, they pretty much just squashed the beef. They're gonna be okay.
But,
They're gonna make it. They're good
They're
kids.
gonna make it. But there was
beef.
one part where the other girl came in. What's her name?
If you can't remember her name, you don't get to say it. I get to say it. Then.
She's Knight.
So Ariane shows up to Raw. And
She has a
been
yeast
sick.
infection.
No, she has tonsillitis, and then she has a urinary tract infection, and she has a yeast infection, and everyone's like, what the fuck? Nobody hugged me.
Brie was like, shouldn't you be in bed? You should be in a bed, right?
I can't. I don't know. What are you doing?
Making sure I'm not missing anything.
They were both not feeling good, and they went to the guy.
We're
in the
doing
back.
this. Daniel's playing on Facebook right now as we do our thing.
But
Hey,
He's totally uninterested in our segment.
when was this match that they had? When it was?
Oh, yeah. So
What the hell? When was that? I don't even remember that.
this is the most interesting part. It was on Superstars because you could tell on the apron they had the Superstars thing.
when the
on it.
hell was Usos bad?
They weren't. They just they did it on a Superstars, and it would probably be like weird. This is Earth 2 anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Earth. Yeah.
So basically, they show up like after like Ariane tells them she has a yeast infection. Everyone's like, "Ew, that's a gross, girl. You need to not hug me."
Pretty much.
Then they're like, "Yo, you guys got a match tonight." And they're like, "Come on, me and John are about to like break up." And then she's like, "I feel like shit. There's yeast in my vagina." And then like, "We can't work a match tonight." And it's like, "Suck it up." Tons of Funk versus Usos and the Bellas. And they're like, "What? Oh man, we're working a match." They're like, "All right, we're gonna do this. We can make it." And then like, so they. And it's really weird. They go to the ring and like they're like established like in the WWE in a mixed tag match, women and men are not supposed to touch each other. They're not supposed to get physical with each other. But there come a part where Trinity was in the ring and John was in the ring and they're on opposing teams. And she acts like she's gonna go back to tag because obviously she has to tag in a dude. And then she's like, "No way, fuck that!" And she like doubles back and she gives the Hurricane Rana to John. He's like, "What'd you do that for? What'd you do that for?" And she's like, "Oh, you gonna talk to me now?" Blah blah.
She
And,
she also gets mad because at the beginning of the match, one of the Bellas was hanging on him.
oh yeah, she was taunting it. One of the Bellas were all like, like hung up on him. Like,
Because that's what I was saying. When the hell did this happen? Like, I know this is Earth 2,
Yeah.
but shit. And then, like, they would show her face. And, like, she would, like, you could tell that something was wrong with her. I was like,
and they kept
when
cutting.
the fuck did this happen?
They kept cutting the reaction shots of everyone else. They're like, "Oh, Trinity's pissed."
yeah.
But they were like obviously like hanging on him to like egg it on. But they did this weird thing where they like established that the whole thing is a work, but then they make a big deal about them squaring off in the ring with each other. So it was really weird and like hard to comprehend exactly what they were going for. But it was still kind of cool.
But, you know, after the match, she went up to him. They talked. And pretty much, you know, John just told her that, you know, why would he try to go get cheeseburgers
When he's got a steak.
When you got steak at home? And she's like,
Calling
"Well,
her
you my
food.
chicken nugget."
Calling her food now.
And they're all good. They're
Yep.
all good.
He's the
Bring
chicken
food
nugget. She's the
scenarios.
steak. He's the chicken nugget. So one of the other things, let's do Bills next, I guess. Okay, so Bree and Brian are like tripping out because they're on the road all the time and they can't ever see Josie, which is their French bulldog, which is a super cute dog. It's adorable.
It is.
I love that dog and I've never met it.
Yeah.
It's cute. I want it. But they're all like, "Yo, we're always on the road and like we always gotta like bring the dog to." What is your problem, dude? You're distracting me.
Don't mind me.
And then like
They even FaceTime the dog.
they FaceTime with the dog.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't just like get a FaceTime and they're like, "Oh, it's Josie. Let's talk to her." They planned around it. They're like later on, they're like packing and they're like, because they got a trip. You're dying over there, and they're like, "Oh, later on we get to FaceTime with Josie, and it's like an event, and they're like excited about it. They're like, "Fuck yeah, we'll do that later." What are you?
Just ignore him. Just
I
keep on
can't.
going.
That's distracting. He's dying.
He's dying.
What the fuck is so funny?
Face something with the dog.
What's funny about that? It's a cute dog. You probably want to see that
It's a
dog.
cute dog. It really is.
But then they're like, they always have to leave the dog in Arizona with the mom, the Bella's mom, because they're always on the road, like both of them.
This was also the episode where he tells her that she's a grown ass woman.
Yes.
Yes.
He says bitch too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in a negative way. So they're all like, yo, we always got to bring Josie to my mom. We never see him. We're always FaceTiming with a dog instead of like hanging out with the dog because we're on the road. We can't handle it. It's too much. Like, we need to move. And so, like, the Bellas live in San Diego, I think. Is it San Diego? Somewhere in California. Brian lives in Washington, but the Bellas live together. Like, Cena lives in Tampa, Florida. Brian lives in Aberdeen, Washington. The Bellas live in San Diego, I think. But so I guess they're going to move. So they can have more time with Josie. So they're going to move to Arizona, close to the parent, the Bella's mom.
They're close to packing, like to move, and they haven't told the sister yet.
Nikki.
They
Get
haven't
it
told
together,
her.
Aber. They haven't told Nikki.
They haven't told Nikki.
Yeah.
She's scared to. She's scared to tell him.
Yeah, because Nikki's kind of like the more in your face one, I guess, and like she's like not having it, and Brian's like, "Have you told Nikki yet?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "You need to tell her." And she's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "No, you blah blah blah." And he's like, "You're a grown ass woman," and then she's like, "Yeah, right." What does he say? Bitch, we're moving.
Yeah,
bitch, we're moving to Arizona. And she's like, Daniel. She says, hold on. She goes, Brian Danielson. She will punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And so like they cut to like the gym where they're working out. Nikki's like working out. She's on the stair climber, and Bree comes in. She's like, "You look good. You made yourself up nice to get on the stair climber." She's like, "Well, I got to because like when I'm looking in the mirror and I look good, then it like motivates me to keep going." She's like, "That's great. So let me get on this stair climber that you saved for me over here." And she's like, "Yo, I gotta tell you something. We're gonna move." And like, she's like, "What the fuck? That's bullshit." And she's like, "What? So you're just gonna leave me everything to do? Because what about the website? What about the
website?
movie?
What do they do?
I guess they have a movie like while they weren't wrestling anymore. I guess they had a website where they probably sold like 8x10s and other shit. I don't know. Maybe they got a side business. I don't really know. Google that, Daniel. Make yourself useful.
Yeah.
All right.
Bella's website.
NicoleandBrianna.com.
Okay. What does it have on it?
Let's see. Get to know the complete. Oh, that's nice.
There's a photo gallery.
Yeah.
What's in the shop? Shop online.
Videos, calendar, meet us. There are no products in this group for the shop.
They probably can't while they're under
Your
contract.
shopping cart is empty.
There's nothing. They may do those. We won't get into that.
What?
But anyway.
Yeah, she's pissed off, and I'm trying to think what comes next. The sequences, like which,
Well, she gets like, they ask her to come over and help them pack, and then she comes over and like she bitches at them because they're moving. Well, first, they had a movie that they had to go to
talk to some producers
and Bree's late because they rode separately.
What cracks me up is she's gonna be late like what 20-30 minutes, and then when they get the producer gets, I think she's parking the car. I'm like, you know this is gonna be gone for a while. Why the fuck do you say she's parking the car? She's gonna be later than that.
Yeah. So they some kind of movie, and they want them to do their own stunts and stuff, and they're like, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, sure, we'd love to. And then like, they're like, can we do that? And like, we'll have to up the insurance, but okay, yeah, sure. So some movie they may or may not be making. I don't know. We'll see. But then she goes to help Bree and Brian move, and she's all pissed, and she's bitching about him, and she kind of blames Brian.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I don't understand why she did. And whatever. And it just kind of cuts like they're...
She hated him.
Yes. Well, she said she hated them.
Them.
Yeah, so like they're like being mad at each other and shit.
She
and
told
like,
him she's like, if you're not gonna help us and you're gonna gripe, you need just to leave. And she left. And that then cuts to later on with she's in the a vehicle with John Cena going somewhere, and she's just whining like a little kid, and John Cena is like just telling her straight up.
She's selfish.
Yeah, she's selfish. She's like, you know how you are. You know how you are.
He put her in check, basically. And she's like, oh, I know, Terminator. I'm sorry. And, yeah. So she basically realized she fucked up and she needs to apologize. And he's like, he puts Brian over. He's like, hey, he's a good kid and he's gonna do right by your sister. And he's like, he works harder than anybody. And he's like,
by the way, the website was last updated in January.
when did they come back?
Huh?
When did they come back?
Before that, or they've been back for a while.
Universe 2.
Well, they started taping like before WrestleMania for this show, the past WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, it started at WrestleMania.
Oh shit, yeah.
And that was like in April.
Oh well, I don't know. Maybe they knew they were going to come back and they had to quit hawking their shit.
Who knows?
Yeah, so they made up and they're like, oh, okay, like we can do this. We're sisters, girl power.
Yeah. Booyah.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
And what's
that's
JoJo?
Which this situation cracked me up a lot. What was it? All of a sudden,
You found Heartbreak humorous?
no, because it just seemed like it was so
He
fast.
really does.
It was just like so fast. Okay, the situation was she was happy because her boyfriend was coming over. I don't remember his name. So he comes over and like, hey, let's go for a walk.
You make it seem like he lives across town and he had to drive over. He's like,
Sorry,
he
yeah,
had
he
to
don't
fly
live
in like even
fly in.
like.
But that's okay. There's a part come up that seemed very, very fast. Like he comes over and
Just comes by to visit. Hey, baby, what's up?
flies from wherever, and then they go out walking. They seem like they're okay. He's happy to see her. They talk to Eva Marie, and so then they go out and they start walking.
She introduces her as the girl she's been like
Tag team partners
roommate.
with.
No, she's like, this is who I've been like living with, or this is my roommate. Not like my friend. This is like, she's like this
But
is
she
the
also
girl I'm
said
living
tag
with.
team partner too.
It was weird.
But then they go walking, and he's happy and all that stuff. And then it turns into like, hey, I wish you would,
Around.
be around or come home for a while. And and all of a sudden they're right by the training facility. It's like, oh, I have to go watch because she got a concussion. Right?
Yes.
So
She didn't tuck her head on the body slam.
yeah, Sarah Del Rey was over there. I saw it
Yeah.
in the ring, and
She was just like, what the fuck are these girls doing?
yeah, and
I'm gonna start royal butterflying bitches.
the guy gets pissed because she has to go watch that and all that stuff. Like, I never get to see you and all that stuff and blah blah blah. Then later on,
He's like, I don't think I can handle this bullshit.
yeah,
blah,
he
blah,
comes
blah.
by the hotel later on, and then
She's like, don't make me pick between my job and my boyfriend. Like, that's fucked up, G. And he's like, I just don't. She's like, is this not working out for you? And he's like, yeah, it's really not working out for me. And she's distraught, and she's like,
this
sad.
shit's quick.
Yeah. And like, she's like a young girl. She's like 19 or something. So she probably like, like all emotional about it. She like cried and she was sad. And that's kind of what happened.
They went
she
their
like,
separate ways, and like they
Yeah.
showed him like all of a sudden like he's in the hallway, and then pretty much like get the camera out of his face, or like he like cursed.
that was her there. She's like, no, come on.
Well, no, he went around and like he said something and did like that, and
It's a work, yo. It's a work.
I know.
But,
Get that
basically, she was all fucked up at practice, and Natty was like, yo, like, if he was worth a shit, he'd be supportive. He wouldn't make you choose or something.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. That's pretty much it for her.
Yeah.
Poor JoJo.
Poor JoJo.
Was there anything else?
Nope.
Nothing.
No drama for Eva Marie?
No, she kind of took a back seat this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Thank you very much for that. And the reason why I was going to the Facebook page because I felt like I was missing something, and we do have some feedback from last week's show that I missed. We have two people. One from Nathan saying, "Who doesn't listen all the way to the end? Great show, guys, and tag teaming the Divas show is a great idea. Keep it up, and hook me up with the WNS podcast shirt, and I'll rock it at work too."
Thanks for listening.
Yeah,
That's
appreciate
awesome.
it.
I'm glad
Nice.
that you could stomach our tag team session of the
Tag team.
Divas. I feel like I didn't feel like we're on our game this week like we were last week.
Yeah, I kind of
Y'all
felt like,
weren't as pumped up.
Yeah,
well, no, I didn't say stuff in order, and
me neither. We fucked this
Yeah.
up. We're sorry. We fucked it up. We'll be
Give
give us
back.
another
on point.
chance, please.
The other listener feedback was from Christine saying, "Doug, you gained the points you lost last week in regards to Big Bang back just because your response to my comment last week made me laugh out loud. Well played. Just to confirm, I've been a listener for several months now, but my first comment was last week. A couple of things. Ricardo was the best thing about Alberto Del Rio, and I never got the courage to watch Total Divas, but when I get home, I'm going to watch the heck out of it, and I am one of your listeners that does listen all the way to the end.
I'm glad to hear everyone's listening to the end.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's always nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice. So there you go. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Tyler, for
we keep you abreast
out
on
the
Total
harshness.
Divas.
You should watch it.
No. So we do have some hot topics for you. If you haven't heard, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan going to be playable characters in WWE 2K14.
Brother. And also this Saturday, the day before SummerSlam, they are going to reveal the roster for WWE 2K14.
There you go. Also, Sheamus has undergone surgery for his left shoulder. I think we reported that last week that he's going to be out for 4 to 6 months because of this injury.
Damn.
So hopefully he recovers and comes back 100%.
Get well soon.
So there you go. Now it's time to go into the Q&A portion of the show. Your questions, our answers. Excuse me. First question coming to us from Thomas. Drop it low, son.
Drop it low, son.
Sans. This comment was posted on the day of this, but we'll say so. This week was the 60th birthday of the immortal Hulk Hogan. No matter what people's opinions are of the guy, I think it's safe to say that the impact he had on the world of professional wrestling is a change few people, if any, could replicate. But my question for you this week is: what is your favorite Hulk Hogan moment?
Well, there's a lot to choose from. He has a long and illustrious career, but I would probably have to go with my favorite being that time he was making his farewell performance at Mega Mountain, and then that bad chick Medusa showed up with the army of ninjas and was fucking all the shit up, and then he had to team up with Rocky and Colt and Tum Tum and set them shit straight. It was pretty cool.
Very nice. I would have to say it was whenever he was an ex-Navy SEAL turned mercenary, whenever he hired himself out as soldiers of fortune, but for a very high fee. And on his mission, he relied heavily on Thunder, which is a souped-up, gadget-ridden speedboat originally built for the U.S. government.
Oh, dude, I have marked out for that one. That's a good one.
Pretty badass.
I gotta say, my favorite time was whenever he was babysitting those kids. And
those little bitches.
Yeah. But actually, there were some people that were after him too, so he had to protect those kids while he was fighting those other guys. But he did a good job protecting those.
The
kids.
one where the dad's the inventor, and then the rival inventor was trying to fuck with him and shit.
Yeah,
that's a good one too. I like it. That's top 5 for me, definitely.
Yep.
So there you go. Thanks for the question, Thomas. Final question coming to us from Hugh. I think this is a first-time question. Actually, yeah, he is. He says, from Hugh, Dear Almighty DDT, Daniel, Doug, and Tyler, first-time question, long-time listener. And by the way, I must say, I honestly look forward to the show as much, if not more, than Raw. Sometimes Raw sucks, but the podcast is always a top drawer. Always entertaining, always fun. Anywho, I know it's been implied on the show, but are you guys into comics? And if so, what do you guys read? What are your favorite titles? Again, kudos to the show. Keep up the good work, and it's greatly appreciated.
No, I hate that shit. I don't read it all. No, but thanks, Hugh. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you for saying all those nice things.
I really appreciate that.
That means a lot.
We appreciate it. Currently, I am not reading anything, mostly because I have a crazy schedule with a lot of work commitments. A lot of I'm a union officer for my job also, so that's a lot of extra work commitments that aren't any fun and I don't get paid any extra for. And I have a lot of family commitments as well, so haven't been reading anything on the reg recently. Some of the more recent stuff that I had been reading, as far as the New 52 stuff, I was reading, Snyder and Capullo on Batman, which, everyone was reading and everyone was loving. And I was reading and loving it too because it was fucking good. I like the Swamp Thing and the Animal Man stuff. I kind of I'm a big mark for the fringe characters. So, that stuff. I think the most recent Marvel stuff I was reading was Uncanny Avengers, after all the Avengers and X-Men shit, Fallout. I think Aber was reading some Avengers X-Men stuff. Like historically as a kid, I was like a huge mark for the mutants. So like I was a big X-Men kid, but I always loved like the side X books because I don't know, I like the fringe characters. I like the smaller, like I like to like read and know all about like all the people, all the little people. So I was always into like X-Force and X-Factor, which weren't as big back then as they are today. And I don't know, I just like Generation X. I just like I love the mutants just because there's so many fucking mutants and there was always new mutants. There's always new people to like know about, to learn about. One of the bigger things I got into when I was like older is I really like Mike Allred's Madman. I think Allred's a fucking fantastic artist. I just think the book was like really cool. It's different. It's like real pop arty, which is cool. Like cool story is like when I was in middle school, I had this really kick-ass like art teacher. His name was Mr. Barton, and he had like the coolest class, and he would always give us these like cool assignments. He had these things called like Barton Bucks that had like its face on it, and then you could like buy stuff from his little store, which were like little toys and comics and shit like that in his class. Like you did good in his class or whatever, he gives you Barton Bucks. You earn Barton Bucks. Really cool. I don't know where the fuck Mr. Barton went, but he was a kid. He's probably my favorite teacher. Kick-ass dude. And he had like all these like really like cool projects for us. Like I designed like my own arcade, like on paper, but like it was still like a cool project and stuff like that. And like one year, I think I was in 6th grade. Like a project he gave our class like for a grade was they were running a contest in Madman Comics to redesign his costume, and he had all his students like attempt the contest. Like he had everyone like redesign his costume, and like he sent it in like as a class project, and it was like
that's awesome.
The coolest like project ever. And I didn't even read Madman then. Like I was in like 6th grade, maybe 7th. I want to say 6th, and that's like it's not like Madman's not like so out there that like it's not like super weird or gritty or anything like that. It's pretty not gritty, to be honest. But it's like it's a quirky book that like someone that age probably doesn't really get, you know. But I love it now, and I can like trace it like all the way back to like him like being like, hey, do this like cool like contest, and like obviously I didn't win because the winning contest was in the comic. So, but I just think it's cool that I had a teacher that did that. So that's one of my all-time favorite Madman Atomic Comics. Yeah, I mean, I rambled off a bunch of shit. I'm sure Abra's got some stuff to talk about.
I've been reading. A few weeks ago, I finished Flashpoint. That was the story before they did the New 52 for DC. I wanted to read that before Flashpoint came on DVD. I did, in which Flashpoint Paradox on DVD is actually good, so check it out. I'm reading X-Men Days of Futures Past right now. I need to finish that because that is overdue at the library.
I'm sure Noah will cut you some slack.
Yeah, he'll pay for it. Let me see. What's some other things I've been reading? I've been reading that crossover. Well, I already finished it, but the crossover between Doctor Who and Star Trek, that was pretty good. What's some of the other things? You know, I'm
not a Who or a Trek guy.
I've been getting more into DC of late. I've been more of a Marvel guy, so I don't know. It's interesting. There's certain things I don't like. I guess I haven't fully read into it, but the things I've read already, I don't like too much how the Joker for the New 52 is. I don't like it, even though it's more of a serial killer Joker because he ripped his face off and put his skin back on his face.
Spoilers, Joe.
Hey, it already happened. It already happened. I have
people bitch about spoilers no matter what now.
Yeah. I have some of the trades of the Amalgam, like I already talked about, the Amalgam universe, which is cool. It's the combination of DC and Marvel superheroes. I like the Marvel versus DC stuff. Yeah.
All right. I don't really read comics that often, but there is one that I do enjoy, and that's from our good buddy John from Nightmare Pro Wrestling. Go and check out that stuff. It's monsters and wrestling. What's more to like than that? So definitely go and check that out. Check them out on Facebook. Nightmare Pro Wrestling. Tell them we sent you. It's all kind of good stuff.
Yep.
So that's not to say I'm not a fan of the comic book characters and stuff like that. I like Spider-Man and X-Men and all them. I just never get around to reading comics.
Oh,
So.
another thing I've been I haven't finished it, but I don't know if you call it manga. I don't know. It's like shorter books, but it looks like a comic book style, not like manga. But the Street Fighter stuff, I've been getting into that too. The Street Fighter in the comics too. So
Cool. So there you go. Hope that answers your question. Certainly do appreciate your questions. Submit your questions. Head on over to YouTube, WNS Video. Also post your comments and questions on our Facebook page, WNS Podcast. You can check us out on WrestlingNewsSource.com, WrestlingNewsSource.com on Facebook, and Wrestling News Source Podcast on iTunes. We want to send a very special thank you to Tito Santana for coming on to the show. We certainly do appreciate that as well. Excellent interview.
great interview.
Very good stuff.
I do want to give a plug out to our boy Eric at Asteroid Belt Company. You can go to asteroidbeltcompany.com, get yourself a cool hobby title belt that you designed yourself. He's easy to work with.
If you want to know,
very
you want
cool
a
stuff.
sample of his stuff, check out the belts that he made for us.
Yeah.
Keep that pimp hand strong.
Yeah. But yeah, go check out Eric. AsteroidBeltCompany.com. They're at AsteroidBC on Twitter. Go say what's up and tell them we sent you.
What up?
Yep. If you want to follow us on Twitter, is at WNS Podcast from the main site, WN Source.
We're also on Stitcher. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, follow, all that cool stuff. We need you to do that. We don't ask for much. All we ask that if you like the show, then please help us by doing the things that make us more visible to other people, so that we can get turned on to other people and
Share
keep
the
this shit
show and tell all your wrestling buddies about us. We would appreciate that.
We have to get it up.
Get it up. Yeah. You know you like it. So there you go. Let us post your thoughts on SummerSlam.
Check out Total Divas.
No, you can do that. So there you go. For the podcast crew, I am Daniel Herron.
I'm Tyler Hebert.
I'm done. Sorry.
And we'll catch you all next week.
I was like, wait, what?